What is all up, all you lovely people? I don't even know what I was saying right there. I'm just so baffled by the fact that you're right next to me. You've got an eyelash. Can I get an eyelash real quick? Oh, just gonna get that real quick. Oh, I didn't. Oh, it fell. I was gonna let you make a wish, but could not do it. This is what we're doing. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm gonna do everything in threes tonight, apparently. We're back though for CCL Stage 2. Top tier cut for a lot of the teams we're gonna see tonight. In fact, we're going to get two of the best overall for CCL tonight. We got Concord and UTC. Bit of a grudge match here for at least one player.
At least one, well, maybe four in total, really.
I mean,
for Red Chase, playoff Red Chase is going to be coming out to play tonight, especially for UT Chattanooga. Going to be representing their new college, going up against their old college of Concord Esports, where 3 out of the 4 players in total, you go back to the emphatic run that ended up happening for Concord, specifically that happened in the Modern Warfare year. This is going to have a lot of blood spilled, not only just in game, but I'm sure in the voice chat as well.
Look, playoff Red Chase was a difference maker, I think, for a lot of people.
It wouldn't have been a bracket reset without playoff Red Chase.
No, it really would not have been. That's 100% correct. But the fact of the matter is, that is old news. And now we're looking at what's to come up next. That's just one match of 3 that we have going on. So make sure you're staying in tune with everything happening throughout the entirety of the evening, not just here on the main stream, but also on the Bravo stream, which will also be showcasing some top tier matchups from the top cut, which is what we're getting at. And that's the big news here. I think, you know, we out of stage 1, we're into stage 2. Yeah. Top teams from each region get into a select kind of elite league, if you want to call it that, in between their regions. So we're going to start seeing a little bit more demographic pull between some of these schools. But hey, this is what we're going to get. A lot of top 25 schools playing up against each other this week.
The idea here, again, if you're top 8 coming out of the top tier 1 as far as stage 2 is concerned, you qualify for playoffs. Your bottom 4 within tier 1, you have to go through the regional LCQ, which every single tier will have a chance to be able to play throughout the entirety through stage 2. Again, placing in the top half of those tiers will put you in a better position to be able to play out for those LCQs and to be able to place inside those playoffs. We'll go ahead and take a look at our 2 teams, be able to see what they have matching up against one another. Definitely a lot to be beckoned between these two.
Yeah.
Both 2 teams ended up having themselves a loss, though still find themselves within the top 15 margin as far as the power rankings are concerned.
Yeah, you know, the thing about it was the Concord loss to Penn State was early on in the season. I think it was like week 2 that they played each other. So, you know, take from that what you will. However, the thing about it was that was actually before Control was in the mix. So, you know, there's something to be said about, you know, is Concord going to be a map 3 team? They were really good at Control last year. One of the main reasons they made a huge run that they did, I think they finished 3rd last year. And then for UTC, obviously a lot of the expectations are on not just Red Chase, but also Click. He's been looking really good this year, too.
Dude, Click is that guy, man. Let me tell you about Mox and what they have to offer. Not only do they have the playoff Red Chase, the X factor, if you will, for Concord University, but Click has certainly been that individual, you know, the crook of Red Chase of previous years, if you will. The SMG lineup for UT Chattanooga is definitely something you want to be looking at in this matchup alone.
Well, we'll take a look, because for the Mox, they only lost the 2, 3, and the 5 in the matchup that they did end up getting that 1 sole loss with. But looking at Concord in particular, you had mentioned it. 3 out of the 4 players, we know them. For some, you love them. Others, you're dealing with them on maybe a more marginal basis. But you've got Paralysis, Crook, Trauma, and then 10 is the new player in the mix. And Tenses has been great this year, honestly, as a fill-in 4th, if you want to call it that.
I think Tenses, look, she's filling a very tough role. Look, Red Chase is leaving big shoes to fill at the end of the day.
Clown shoes,
as far clown shoes. Size 50, if you will. Shaq can't even fill these shoes, Alan. But I think that Tenses is doing a great job at fulfilling this role of just making and understanding what needs to be done throughout the entirety as far as rotation is concerned, what needs to be done as far as anchoring favorable spawns, and if you go down to Control, looking at what Concord University have been able to do, it's all off the back end of what the SMG lineup, which we have seen these 3 players specifically ever since Megatron has graduated, what they can offer when we go back to Modern Warfare Call of Duty when it was 5v5. These 3 individuals of Paralysis, Crooked, and Trauma definitely knows what it takes to be able to hit to the next gear and to be able to push that line of scrimmage that much further forward.
I think for Crooked and Trauma as well, you have challengers' aspirations in both of those players, although the placings haven't necessarily been notoriously high compared to other CCL members that are playing in this year. But still, nonetheless, they are pursuing that more competitive side of things. But taking a look at the University of Tennessee Chattanooga and the Mox, their only loss was a Game 5 versus Florida State. The 2-3-5 is what they had lost. It was a very tight series. And the biggest thing is, Click, Red Chase, you know what you get with both of those players. However, Slim and Superior have been just as consistent as you could possibly want when it comes to looking at full 4-man rosters in the CCL.
Yeah, and a lot of people, including Pallyboy, you go back towards that document and that article that they were writing, you can find that on eFuse was actually kind of coining this up as the Tensees versus Superior show. Basically, what these four, what these, not necessarily what the bottom of the 4 of the individuals for the teams can offer for themselves, but they gotta fulfill the same role, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have Red Chase versus Trauma as far as the flexes offered, you have to be looking at what the main ARs are also offering for the teams as well. And that's going to be immediately what you are looking at for Superior, what they bring to the table. Taking a look at UT Chattanooga, Superior has been that individual to always make sure that things are locked down. Most importantly, when we're looking at Bocage P2, when we're looking at Berlin P3, is that guy for UT Chattanooga to make sure that all the other 3 players can go AWOL on the map.
No, I think it's a really fair head-to-head comparison, so we'll definitely keep that in the back of our minds, maybe in the front of our minds as we get ready to go look at the map series. Just all over our minds. Prefrontal cortex, the medulla oblongata, all those other places as well. The science things. Fun fact, I took Psych 101 3 different times in college.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, you should, because I did take it 3 different times in college. Hard point for the Bocage will be map number 1, Berlin, Search, Destroy, and then Tuscan Control. I mean, I'm looking at Bocage hard point.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Andrew Crook. That's it. Period.
Well, you remember when we actually casted
the Penn State game?
Yeah, over Penn State, exactly. Yeah. Where Crook, I think he dropped like 45 real kills.
It's disgusting.
But they didn't convert it to a map win.
No, they lost.
And not in a fantastic way either. They were losing out on a lot of different rotations. And due to the simple fact that they never put themselves in a favorable aspect of being able to hold favorable positions when it comes down to P5, P2, I guess our better looks as far as money hill is hell. If you could put P3 in there, I don't know. If you get more than 25 seconds on a Bocage hardpoint, then you're probably looking, it's a money hill, for sure. But because Crook was playing at a different level, at a different pace comparatively to the rest of their teammates, they were never able to actually benefit from a lot of time that each of the hardpoints were finding for themselves. That's what scares me for this Concord University roster when we go into the Bocage hardpoint. And you are right to highlight that one aspect in particular, because I want to see the stark differences from that Concord University that we saw versus Penn State, and now what they can offer versus a very methodical and very, very nice laid out hardpoint team that is UT Chattanooga.
I think the biggest thing is this is not the first time, nor will probably the last time we talk about Bocage. The kills, as important as they are, will not dictate the outcome of the map.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it, like week 2, New York got outsplayed by like 25 and still won the map. So I think that's the biggest thing. And we've seen that with a couple of our teams that are top 25 where it's like, hey, you're doing everything you need to be doing in the killing department, but you're not turning it into actual presence of the map, presence on the hard point in specific. So I think it's going to be really interesting because, again, our reference point of Concord versus Penn State was a long time ago in the scheme of things. And that was really their only test that Concord had in stage 1. So I think as far as a barometric test here between number 12 and number 14, you're going to learn about both of these teams pretty considerably because a lot of the teams that are rated above them in the top 25 are teams that have not lost yet. So I think this is kind of a proving point for both teams. Have you corrected the mistakes that we saw versus Florida State for UTC and versus Penn State for Concord?
That's a very valid argument. I mean, off the one simple fact that that's probably why people put them in top 12, top 14.
I agree.
Also, there's a lot of different aspects and questionings that Al and I personally have as far as top 25 rankings are concerned as well.
Constantly.
But altogether, I think you are mostly looking at this one simple fact, is that going in towards stage number 2, to find themselves to be able to start day number 2 off with a win, let alone an emphatic win over one another.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's going to be putting yourself a step forward on the lily pad of success. Look, at the end of the day, place top 8, you're going to be in playoffs regardless.
Right.
But the higher the seed,
the better you're going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing, too, is just to kind of cross and compare, because, like, the Southeast Division, especially as you get closer to Georgia, Florida, like, that inter-regional pool from stage 1 was very difficult. Like, for UTC, there's like we're just happy to be here because Georgia Southern missed out on the top cut.
That's right.
And it was like a 3-way tiebreaker, I want to say, between them, Kennesaw, and UTC. So it was like one of those things where it's like, she's Louise, like, happy to be here. Whereas Concord, like, you played through Penn State. That was pretty much it. So I think it's going to be interesting, I think, now, especially for a team like Concord, who has to play not just against UTC tonight, but then turn around and have to play Kennesaw State right after. So you're getting kind of a gauntlet of what this Southeastern Division was in whatever pool that happened to be.
I mean, not to mention, I mean, we were just thinking about this entirety of a Stage 2 region as a whole. I mean, really just think about it. Now, you got Concord, Shenandoah, UNC Charlotte is also here. The Niners Esports are nuts. High Point have finally made themselves an argument for being a top 25 ranked team, have been really beckoning themselves to be even higher than even top 25. Kennesaw State have proven themselves against definitely some top teams that this right here is an early test for these two teams.
Yeah.
And for these first 3 map sets, it's going to offer a lot. Because, I mean, you even go to map number 2. We talked about the SMG presence. We talked about Crook. The Crook versus Click show, as honestly, that Bokosh Harpun will probably be.
Probably.
Now we're going to go to the Berlin Search and Destroy, just as an example. R98Ks become an example. Those Flex Automatons, the MP40s can also come out to play as well. You know me, how much I love my Car 98Ks, but as a whole, those instigators, specifically when you're looking at what Trauma Paralysis are able to offer for Concord comparatively to what Click and Red Chase are able to do, that can influence a lot of different instances, because you go back to stage number 1, between Concord and Chattanooga, I mean, they had an opportunity. I mean, barring those 2 matches that they ended up losing, especially in Search and Destroy, could just quite literally run over all of the competition just because they had the better gunnies. That's not going to be the case in this matchup here today.
It's not just this matchup. It's the entirety of this stage, right? Like, that's the thing, because you still have Barry and FGCU. You've also got, Full Sail, who is competitive, at least in some regard. So, I don't know, man. This is, I think, the stage 1 team, top tier cut, we're going to call it, to really keep an eye on. Because there's not just a lot of top 25 schools, but there are a lot of teams that are coming into this top tier cut having played next to nobody. And now they're about to play up against some of the toughest teams in the CCL. So I think for Concord in particular, this week is really, really important when it comes down to where they currently stand, not just in the top 25, but just in the scheme of overall playoff hopes and what that length of run could be, a couple of months from now when we start to get into playoffs.
I mean, there's also a really good instance going forward off of this that even if this match does become an L, either of these 2 teams, that 1 seeding might not be favorable. Because keep in mind, this is the last possible stage until cross-regional matchups.
Yeah.
That has been truly the struggle for Concord in the past. As when they finally went up against cross-regional teams, when things became neutral. That when things became a lot more, specifically going back towards the regular season, that's when they were just running over everybody.
That's fair.
But this is going to be the biggest test, in my opinion, going forward for Concord to be able to solidify themselves as a Stage 2 team, rectify that loss that they lost versus Penn State 3-1, and to come into the Stage 2 like a bat out of hell and prove all the haters wrong.
And the other thing, too, is, like, you got to think about the overall playoff implications. Like, the Southeast and Northeast are looped together. Yeah. And, like, the Southeast is by far stronger than the Northeast.
Oh, terrifying.
Like, outside of Rutgers and Bay State, there's really nobody else in the Northeast that really kind of, you look at it and say, oh, damn. Oh, Northwood, I guess you got another team that's kind of out there. But, like, there are 6 to 8 teams in the Southeastern top tier cut that I think have the potentials of breaking in towards top 12, top 8, something of the nature. So, I mean, we talk about this a lot in stage 1. This is the first year we're going to see teams be tested to this caliber this early on. Because everything else, up until this year had been, you'll get 1, 2, maybe 3 tough matchups throughout the year, and then you're waiting for playoffs. This is going to feel like playoffs for a lot of these teams in the Southeast right off the rip, especially for Concord, who's got 2 big-time teams to play this week.
Not to mention the stain because of that one simple fact that Concord have finally faced themselves a season that they didn't go undefeated in the regular season play.
It's true.
Maybe it was Red Chase. I mean, look, playoff Red Chase is certainly a thing. Maybe playoff Red Chase was coexisting during the regular season. I'm not too sure. It could honestly be a synergy thing as well at the end of the day. And I think that there's a lot that you could also build off of that, specifically when you're thinking about Concord, especially in recency past, when you go to 5v5 Call of Duty, especially in Modern Warfare, everybody was playing underneath the same exact arena. UT Chattanooga are playing underneath the same exact room. Same could be honestly said.
Same room. Same room.
Oh, we're in the same room right now?
Same room.
Same room? Is this in a camera?
Same room.
That's crazy.
Slap me in the face.
Wasn't a slap.
You want to see a slap in the face?
I don't like
Bokosh Hardpoint. Slap in the face.
Woo! I was worried. Good save. Good save, Sport.
Wait, what?
Huh? Sport sent it to the game.
Oh, well, that's fair. For the mocks, though, first of all, love the logo.
It's an angry bird.
But Concord are not the pigs. They're the mountain lions. Because in Angry Birds, you shoot at the pigs.
That was a stretch. But I appreciate it. But I appreciate it. Could you imagine Shooting a bird just at a very angry mountain lion?
No.
Dinner.
For the mountain lion.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
I mean, depends on how big the bird is.
Who's hungry? About to go take a look. Also, are all these guys completely running the same uniform, by the way? It looked like Concord is running like all maroon style uniforms, and UTC was all running New York Subliners uniforms, which, if that's the case, I freaking am here for it, and it looks like that is indeed the case. Credit where credit is due. But we get into map 1, hardpoint 1. Pretty even affair with Crook trying to make his way across the map, and this is what you expect from Crook. It's not just kills, it's good positioning, and he takes use of an easy double.
Getting control of Barn is very influential, especially for Concord Esports. They're starting on the unfavored side. Now Click will be able to find that trade, and nobody from Concord Esports were in an immediate position to be able to try to thwart out those spawns. So a big tussle going through the middle of the map, but I mean, hey, you're walking away with 15 seconds for Concord Esports, although you're not able to get those close spawns for P2. This is still a good step in the right direction ahead of many, many hills to come.
Really, I'm kind of looking at Trauma here. He's in a very important position, and he actually takes down 2. It's not even falling as of yet. It's Red Chase that comes out to find 10, but as she falls, Trauma's actually able to turn this into a 3-piece, looking for a Click in the back. Not quite able to significantly find the kill, nor flip the spawns. Crook trying to take his place. And with that elimination, still influence around the back, and Crook is very slippery, but not enough to either influence the spawns nor the hard point. Good time here for the Mox.
Yeah, very individualistic moments coming through from Concord, though. Tensi, it's okay. She's trying to influence things in the back, so got players spawning in for Chattanooga all the way in the backside of 10, so she has to shift her focus, but the immediate problem is that we're down to 25 seconds. 25 seconds of hardpoint time if you're on Bokaj, that's good time! You might as well line up for her, because she's gonna knock you down one more down the line. We'll take down Slim in return on a 5 spree as Tensi's, as Concord Esports will not only flip out the spawns, but we'll get some crucial time here on the back of P2.
Red Chase taking down Click means that this scrap time is locked in, and the rotation looking pretty solid for both Para and Crook at the moment. And Traumas, who's actually kind of getting around the backside, is actually trying to block off the spawns, and has successfully done that. We got 50-50 spawns on the left side of the map, while Concord is trying to work their way in from the north side, and the kills are still coming up successful for the Mountain Lions.
Still successful on the backside, though. Chattanooga will have the immediate respawns on the backside of the hedges, so they should be able to reinforce this immediately, you would think. But again, you talk about the SMG lineup of Concord Esports, and they're able to do things like this. If it was Tensi's going on the backside of 2 on a 5 spree, now it's Andrew Crook on a 5 of their own. But again, influential spawns coming through from Chattanooga, but they have to try to utilize these spawns and try to break inside the hardpoint sooner rather than later.
I mean, honestly speaking, from the front, you've done your job already. Anything of this last 20 would be a bonus at this point in time. Your first 30 seconds from the front was nearly perfect for Concord. So Slim trying to get some favorite built back into the Mox, trying to take a long route through River. That's shut down. Crook trying to take a position right over the middle of the map while the rest of his teammates are completely enforced on this opening hardpoint time of P4. Kills looking significant as well for the Mountain Lions. Last player on the way out is Superior. They will fall. And with that, Concord, this is exactly what you would need, I think, if you're looking at this from the Mountain Lions perspective.
P4 is basically built for how Concord have been playing so far. Like, you got Crook, Trauma, 10-6, 13-6 respectively. Paralysis, 10-6 as well. Tensi's going even 8-8 for them. You know how I feel about P4. It's like that Pitbull that just comes zooming inside of the room, that just comes spinning around. You're going to be looking at all different doors in all different directions at all certain points of time. And the SMG lineup for Concord are absolutely thriving in that. And even more so than that, Trauma now on a 5 spree is able to push that line of scrimmage that much further forward. They're finally going to be dealt with, but the immediate trades will come through. You would almost beckon just a little bit too late, as Crook will end up rechalling inside of P4. Trades are going to be good as you hold a 30-second lead going in towards P5.
Talk about a needed break, though, for UTC. I mean, that's what, 4 or 5 different 4+ sprees for Concord so far?
Yeah.
Not only have they been able to shut those down before streaks, but they're going to get some pretty significant scrap time, and they've got Click already set up over through tower. Team Nade will come through, making life a little bit easier, but Para, who drops from high to low, will find the elimination, and with that, Concord will set themselves up for the river hard point.
Again, holding those closer spawns, battle on 2 different fronts. We're looking at UT Chattanooga. If Click was able to find that kill over by the willow tree, would have potentially given themselves an opportunity to be able to find some more on the backside of the hedges. But I mean, Concord Esports can simply do no wrong. I mean, this is almost what we expect. Double positive from Crook, almost double positive for Trauma. They're winning gunfights that they have simply no business finding.
Playoff Red Chase looking more like play again Red Chase. I don't know, 9-18. Right. Not looking all that solid, but does get a double here. Actually, 3 in a row in the kill feed. That'll be good to get him not just back towards the neutral standpoint, but also on top of that, more significant time through the halfway point of our final hard point. And with that, Concord are going to sit here and say, Yeah, we'll send a couple players to try to deal with this, but largely our focus is on trying to flip over to New, and as Crook makes his way up top into Barn, he's got himself not only a situation to hold over towards this new hardpoint, but he's built an avenue for Trauma to get on the back. This is looking good for the Mountain Lions if they can find the kills, and boy will they. 2 will fall. That should flip the spawns completely around as a 4-man feed comes into the mix.
And that only comes through because Crook finds, what, 1 elimination inside the barn?
And then it gets up top, yeah.
And Paralysis works their way into the bottom side of the barn, becomes the farmer duo there of Crook. And then Trauma just finds the freest flank this side of the Mississippi on the backside of P2, and now spawns have essentially flipped, but you still have 30 seconds to be able to battle over. Spawns will probably flip over 2 more times, but Concord going back towards the P1 set are seemingly more comfortable on this side of the map.
And Crook has dropped 20 kills in the first rotation of hardpoints, by the way.
Casual.
So, well on the way to breaking that 45 that we had seen last time around, and Trauma 20 and 10, Paralysis 20 and 9. And Tenzies has almost a minute with hardpoint time.
Jeez.
This feels like more than a 50-point game at the moment, and I think if this rotation is held by Concord, it will certainly be more than a 50-point game between these two. Need someone for UTC to get involved, and well, they're trying to. A lot of it being met and shut down almost immediately. Even a split spawn situation here for Concord has led to free kills. That's what, 6, 7 in a row. Actually, you can do the math. 9 kills straight here for Concord. And that's going to be enough to build them not just a 50-point lead, but they could really, really quickly build this out of the realm of possibility for UTC to come back.
I mean, not to mention that you finally got streaks in the back pocket of Concord Esports now. I mean, the Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike.
What game are we in?
I have no idea. This is what I get for watching Black Ops 4 Champs. But I mean, even if you get the strafing run going forward, it's not exactly the craziest kill streak to be able to find, but Trauma is still finding themselves kills. Who needs kill streaks? You got an MP40 in the hand of Trauma, give them number 10, 11 is in the front door of the barn, will finally be cut down, but even more so than that, while UT Chattanooga have been scrambling through all of this, Concord have done a fantastic job of just being able to find trades, finding those influential pinstripe kill feeds, making sure that Chattanooga cannot get themselves set up inside of P2, and although Concord Esports are holding on to the closer spawns for P3, Chattanooga essentially need to find themselves back-to-back 4-man feeds before they can ever get themselves inside some influential time here in 3.
That moment in the last 15 seconds was really the biggest window that Chattanooga had. And players inside of Granny's looking to get eliminations, then they would assume, be trying to play for spawns, but they were so focused on getting the kills, they didn't really worry about getting the spawns. So, it could have been a moment to neutralize the deficit. Instead, it turns into a 3-piece for Trauma. 3 in a row back, though, for UTC. Looking for one more. It's Crook 2's trying to slip in and out of the window in the back. He's done very well. Eventually gets dealt with in the spawns. Good for UTC. 23 seconds to play for. And Concord setting up to try to hit this one more time. They're actually kind of coming in one by one. This is good news for the Mocs. They've not just neutralized the players. They're starting to dig into this deficit pretty considerably.
You're still down by 50 seconds, and 50 seconds going in towards the Bokash hardpoint, that is a steep of a mountain. Luckily enough, you are a Mock, and you can absolutely fly, but you got to be able to do that consistently. Going from 3 to 4 is not exactly the longest rotation in the world, but Click slips the net, is able to get in the back to take down Tensies, but needs to be able to find some more. No help will immediately be around, but what can Red Chase find now on the bounce? Trying to influence themselves on the front side of the bar, but it's just individual gunfights. So long as Red Chase can continuously find themselves big kill feats, it should open up the floodgates for Chattanooga to work their way back in. The only issue is they cannot keep up with the same amount of momentum that one player is starting to find, and all these individualistic moments are coming up absolutely flat for Chattanooga.
The last 2 hard points, right around the 45, 50-second mark, you really see UTC feeling the pressure of the scoreboard.
Yeah.
They have a couple of kills, and instead of trying to push through those kills to flip the map, they're playing for the hard point without the favorable side of the spawns that you want proximally. They eventually turn things around. Like, again, this is decent scrap time, but there were 2 key moments where UTC missed out because they're down by 40, 50 points. They're thinking, we got kills, get on the hard point. Instead of, we got kills, let me push through those eliminations to flip the spawns, and then we can get to the hard point. So, a bit of a missed opportunity, and with that, Concord now have the luxury of the streaks to come on in. That'll be a 4-for-1 exchange, in which Concord can at least threaten this hard point, although UTC still retain the spawns for now.
Still will retain the spawns, but I mean, you take a look at where Tensies is actually at. She's on that God Heady on the backside of the tank. But exactly, she has to be able to take down players on the cross. But I mean, just looking at her arrow on the mini map, she's fighting some of the worst timing I've honestly ever seen. But Crook's trying to flip things out for their own favor. Now, finally, where Tensies is putting themselves at. Click will finally spawn all the way out. This north to south spawn will start to ensue on the west side of the map, and it's Concord Esports that are able to collect off of it.
41 and 16 for Trauma.
Jeez.
Like, brother, what did he have for dinner?
Seriously, what did you have for dinner?
No, but seriously, tell me what you had for dinner.
We had barbecue.
We did have barbecue. It was good. Concord smoking UTC now. Speaking of barbecue, easy wordplay. Golden Boy would be proud. 159-214, though the tally, and UTC in a position here. They've actually read the spawns for Concord, so if you could trap them down here, not only are you finding some decent time here on P1, but if you can lock down these spawns, coming up for the second, you could string a couple of good hard points together and come right back into this game, but it comes down to execution at this point.
The hold P1 for 38 seconds for the hard points on Maboka?
Yeah, you don't need all of it, but
you got to be able to keep it contested as well, to be able to find continuous amount of gunfights and swaying in your decision. The only one that's been able to do that so far has been Click, 34 and 33 for them, but on the opposite side, Concord Esports, they've resurfaced themselves. Not enough time to close it out here on one, but so long as they can continuously to keep things mixing and keep things going in their favor, it should start swaying in the decision, but Chattanooga are really starting to sway their favor as far as the barn side of the map is concerned, utilizing the power positions to an absolute pristine moment for them to be able to hold on to the favorite side of the map, going in towards a very crucial hard point.
All right, Chase. He pulls out the Volk and starts salvaging this map for him. 24 and 38, still not anything but, I mean, you won't say it's sunshine and rainbows. Superior not having any better of a time at 17 and 32, but even still, if you can find significant kills right here, right now, you can get back into this game. And they do find Crooked around the backside, so Concord are completely stuffed on their first break attempt. Problem is, on their second, they're already through Church, what? They're already through Barn. I don't know what map I thought I was on for a second there.
Maybe? I don't know.
But they're able to at least get a couple eliminations to neutralize this time. 28 seconds worth of time, not just to the hard point, but that could influence the actual overall game clock. Just down to 38 seconds there total.
Only 18 seconds are required here for the Mountain Lions to be able to close things out, though, and they're finding all the gunfights to be able to close it out here, Alan.
Yeah, it's looking pretty solid for him. Kills, though, still will allow UTC, who's spawning more proximal, to get here neutralized. 8 seconds worth of time. Concord are done. No more for P2. It's all about zoning off this initial for the third. Get on in, get these last 11 seconds. But Pinstripe goes the kill feed. Allows UTC to come in for the front. 240-210. Break attempt has to be successful, and it needs to be now. Problem about this is there's nobody really else here, and Crooked is able to lock things down up through the middle. Red Chase in the back, trying to open up her up, but we'll get introduction. Touch in time. Slim gets there just in the nick of time. Can he find the double, though? No. And for UTC, numbers are dwindling, and that will be the final. And as the final kill comes through, Concord salvage the map. No, I'll say salvage. They win the map, 250-210.
I mean, they were up by like a solid 60-70 points at one point, Alan.
Full lot of work, all right? Full lot of work.
I mean, at least, you know, Chattanooga were able to salvage a massive deficit, I guess, at the end of the day. Look, I mean, they were down by a solid 70 points, but I mean, the overall slaying power drama drops 51 real kills.
Stupid.
39 of those were non-traded, by the way. And again, not only were we asking, what did you have for dinner, Zach, but also you brought up a fantastic point throughout the middle of that as well, is all of these individual moments that are coming through for Concord, comparatively to UT Chattanooga, what Chattanooga were looking for, the Mocs were always trying to focus on the hard point when they were finding themselves some kills. When you go back and you watch that map with the periscope over top of the mini-map, every single kill that Concord were finding not only meant hard point time, but it also meant spawns, power positions, continuous power positions to get themselves easier in favorable gunfights.
Yep.
This is the chemistry that we've known from this core 3 for quite some time.
And that's the thing is, you know, you're going to feel the pressure when you're looking at a 180 to 130 scoreline, right? If you're UTC, you feel like, oh, we've got to get back into this game and do it now. You're thinking of good kill feed, get on the hard point, where you miss that extra layer where you need to actually be sending at least one player through that. Let the player in the very back that's still running up to the hill be the one to get into the hill. But such is life. It's also difficult when you're dealing with a handful of players where you've got over a minute and a half worth of hill time and Trauma goes 51 and 25 with 39 non-traded kills. So definitely a difference, not just in the kill potential, but kind of reiterating what you were saying. Kills turned into hard point time. Almost 1 for 1 every time.
Would have thought. Hard point.
Concord pretty good. They're not bad.
I mean, dude, like the SMGs were 60 plus kills at the end of the first set of hills combined. 60 plus kills.
Yeah, it's
everybody from Paralysis, Trauma, and Crook were over 20-21 kills.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
Intensities was able to kick her feet up. I mean, she's the queen of Concord at this point. Like, up, you may go slay. my Lions to be able to absolutely kick her feet up and get some crucial hardpoint on. But now we shift our media consideration into some of the woes that we had for Concord. And not only was it a Berlin search and destroy, but it's just search and destroy as a whole.
Yep.
How is that chemistry going to look when things become more methodical, when you don't have those respawns and you don't have Andrew Cook just running amok, or trauma as it may be, with an MP40
yeah,
on the map?
the 2-3-5, as just we had mentioned, that was what was lost versus Florida State. Map 5 affair. And, you know, that's obviously where you look at it and say, okay, now you're in the top tier cut for the Southeastern Division. You have to be better in the search and the control, obviously. I mean, they were flawless in hardpoint up until that map. So, not a great start, I would say, for UTC.
Yeah.
But I think the easy argument here, and the easy, you know, $1 analyst would say, have to win this one. You cannot go down 0-2 versus this Concord team. You just can't.
Not especially with the Tuscan control, right?
Oh,
in a map
and the
mode,
fact that you've got a 4th and a 5th map that, you know, who knows? I mean, they've lost map 5 versus Florida State. Like, that's still win condition for Concord.
I was more looking at the SMG presence that we were going to get from Tuscan control comparatively to your favorite map mode combo of a Gavutu. But
I do love a Gavutu.
It is true. It is true. But
Best map in the game.
It's a new Hackney Yard, yeah. 100%. Yeah, I think what you're mostly looking at going forward for Chattanooga, understanding, I mean, you talk about the $1 analysis, specifically for Chattanooga versus Concord. I'm going to push it to $2. And I think that would be, I know, expensive.
Could double down on my bet, bro?
Yes. And I think that what you're mostly going to be looking at, especially knowing that Concord absolutely ran you over when it came down to SMG presence, that you now have to play mock search and destroy. You no longer will be playing Concord search and destroy. Mostly looking at you, Red Chase. You are no longer the aggressor in this matchup. You have to wait for those unforced errors, play those longer lines of sight. I don't even remember off the top of my head who from the mocks actually snipes on this team, but regardless of the matter, collect off of information and wait for the unforced error to come to you and win it out from a numbers advantage in war of attrition alone.
I feel like it's hard to go into this map for UTC and say, we're going to win this map off of sniping alone. Like, I feel like for UTC, knowing how diligent that Concord has been in the past when it comes to developing their search and destroy, your playbook has to be at least 4 pages deep. Like, you can't just come in here with 2 set strategies and think you're going to walk away with a win on a Berlin search and destroy versus this Concord team off of those 2 plays. I think a lot of it could be determined by first blood engagement, sure. But I think most of this is going to be of what can the mocks do to diversify their looks in those opening 30 seconds. Because the moment that you start to give Concord free predictions is the moment that Crook is in your frickin' backline.
That's true. A little slippery devil, isn't he?
He's slippery.
You will find those timings to work your way. You think you're safe on that B bomb side? Well, Crook's already in the max on the warehouse. Like, I've synced it too many times before on some of those Crook streams. But it will be the mocks on offense. First going to be a 3-1 split. There's
so much info.
And that is, yeah, exactly. All the info in the world. Even seeing that one player cross is big.
I just saw both players cross, if I'm being honest. That's why you're seeing Red Chase doing a little bit of spamming, just seeing it behind the toes of Crook. Bust through the door. How do you not check left? And Andrew turns that into 3!
Uh-oh.
What?
Stinky.
No! Nice shot, I guess. Go next.
I don't think you saw more than one, brother.
Dude.
I don't
Crook found the ace, bro.
Yeah.
I saw the automaton pop up in the feed, and I was like, "Oh, someone else got that kill."
You know what's even like worse for wear is that he picked up Red Chase. That was Red
That's
Chase's
worse than
automaton.
shooting your body. I feel like. Let me go ahead and grab this real quick. Thanks for the weapon, teammate.
Picture like the wanted scene, and Crook just like picks up like Red Chase's automaton from his
Bending
dead
bullets.
body. Yeah, just, okay.
Red Chase is Angelina Jolie.
All
Can't
right.
confirm he's not, by the way.
I had no rebuttal for that. But here come Concord with their deepest of playbook calls. We'll be working the way over towards the B side. The only issue is that they're going to read that Superior's in here. No Tensies will not. Oh, the bomb's dropped inside the hut. Superior's position now for Concord going forward.
Yeah, that's a mistake, I would say, for Concord. I mean, you've got double nades for not just Crook, but Tensies also had not thrown any nades forward. So you've got, you know, an easy read there for Superior just to hold the corner. And that's now bombed down, and recovery is no easy task from this point on forward, especially with Crook having lost both his nades.
You got to find at least 2 eliminations before you work your way in here. You know Superior's in here, but 40 seconds is going to be immediately call. Crook
push.
With the rat pistol of all things, will end up scooping up the bomb and just immediately stick the plant. Nobody from the mocks are in a position to stop this from happening.
The fact that he just... What?
Okay.
You get a pistol whip, and then you immediately turn that into a plant? Now, the thing about this is Red Chase has worked all the way around the back, but you need to move sooner rather than later. It's a 2v3 situation. You got two different players on the backside. And clearing these banisters is easier said than done, especially with Para actually technically being on the second floor. And yet, that's the problem. You can just back away. Decent elimination for Chase, but he loses his teammate to Slim. Court finding that kill, and with 15 seconds on the clock, Red Chase's hopes of clutching up this round have gone out the window.
Yeah, only has an MP40 as well, so these longer range gunfights, even if they found Crook towards middle of the map, would not be an easy one going forward for themselves. And yeah, again, I mean, two different head scratches, right? I mean, how do you not expect for there to be one player inside the B hut? I feel like that's a day one strategy here on Berlin Search and Destroy.
You have to at least check it.
For two, how do you let that bomb plant go down for free? Someone needs to be there to be able to trade Superior, especially knowing that you took down Tensies. I mean, whether you know that she's going to be the bomb carrier or not for Concord, you should absolutely know. As Sport also reminds me in my ear as I was getting to the point, thanks, Cade, that Crook is on 7 in a row. So get themselves full streaks going into round number 3.
Yeah, it really is a mistake for UTC, though. I mean, you've got a player topside fire. You just have to watch that cross.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone walk in for free like that. But Red Chase is going to move quickly, get this bomb planted. This is the play off of them. Yeah, as I said, the glide bomb is the entire defense here. The bomb does get planted, though. So that's already a step off the board for UTC. Just comes down to, can you contest this retake? And Click finding a kill mid-map may have just done at least just that.
Oh, you gotta at least deal with Slim on the backside of the warehouse, but Correct is gonna immediately shift their focus to be able to deal with Click inside of Mail. But trades are gonna continuously be good. 25 seconds remaining, 2v3.
Trauma is taking a little bit of a zone forward. Think about this as Slim feels comfortable. Check this, because you've got Click working for the middle of the map, and Click will take down a second kill off screen, leaving Trauma in a 1v2. Not a lot of time. He's completely lost his bearings on where exactly Slim has gone off to. So with that, UTC will take the round. And it really is that important first elimination for Click mid-map. Concord was already trying to clear off the backside of Warehouse, and Click is just able to use mid-map as the actual contest of the retake. Good stuff for UTC.
And you got the glide out.
That's true.
I mean, the strafing run will absolutely still eviscerate you inside of the B hut. But even
one
still,
out, two down, yeah.
It is massive within its own self. You were able to take on one massive resource while you were able to get yourself on the board, and you're able to play, no pun intended, to the Moxon players' superior position. To be able to put themselves in a position where Click also walks away with an ace, and now they have an opportunity to be able to put their hands on deck for a resource going forward. But the issue is now trying to read what Concord Esports are trying to do going forward. They're actually going back to the same exact strategy, but not immediately just bulldozing their way inside the B hut. Nobody will be there for Chattanooga this time around.
That's the call, though. Crook is able to back off that player fire. You just dive right on in. Tensies is able to get this bomb planted once again. Click mid-map. Important kill he needs to find versus Para, and he will lock things down. So the middle of the map now possessed by the Chattanooga Mox. But Trauma is able to keep the flank safe off screen as Red Chase was trying to make a long play. So now Click has to do this from the front. Difficult decision to make, especially considering that you're so close to streaks. Sees Crooked over the top, wants the gunfight, and Andrew says, I wasn't born yesterday! You're not gonna win that 1v1! Try again later! Slim. Slick footing over towards the dockside. 15 seconds of the clock in. Well, Superior wanted to get that nade off. Completely shut down. Slim, nice shot again, but it just does not matter. Imagine.
Oh, imagine!
Imagine. Imagine.
I would have lost full again.
Wouldn't have mattered.
I mean, the way he found that kill on Click within what it really felt like 2.5 bullets, maybe 3. That was gross. I want to say MP40 diff, but both players had an MP40.
It's an MP40 diff right there.
Crook literally was not born yesterday. This dude was born and bred in Search and Destroy. Look, the 3 players collectively, the core 3, if you will, Crook, Trauma, and Paralysis, spent the majority of the Modern Warfare year going into the Cold War year playing a lot of Search and Destroy together. So you're going to probably expect them to be able to turn that in their favor. But going forward, it is a 1-3 split. Defensively, a lot of pressure comes through from Trauma. And unfortunately, they do not find enough pressure to dissuade the bomb from being planted early.
Trauma's going to contest this, though. Yeah, color me surprised. There wasn't enough help here. So now this entire play off the flank cannot really live off the flank. They have to re-hit back through mid. You got to keep multiple angles of approach to this bomb site available for this retake. So you've got Red Chase, who's still holding his previous plant. Crook 2 wants to make a play around the back, and he's actually found the vacancy to do just that. He's able to tally that elimination. Paralysis around the back. That's a free kill. And, oh gosh, this has gotten way too easy. Way too easy.
I'm frustrated because of how easy that was. I just...
The thing about it is, like, you get the 1 kill off flank, like, great, but, like, you know that the player who's sitting in the close warehouse can watch the cross through mid. They were so worried about what was coming up the middle of the map, they didn't even bother with the second and third elimination that could have been on the backside of the flank.
That's what's most important, is that they didn't fully clear out the potential flank play that could come through from the concourse, and because of that, Concord flanked through the concourse.
Yeah.
They had immediate pressure coming through the middle of the map. They only really had information on said player in the middle of the map, but they never fully understood that, hey, maybe a player could be in a position to be able to deal with a player exiting from the concourse side. You had a player on the backside of the train side, but I digress. 3-round lead now for Concord, taking their hand, 4 players strong, more or less, working their way towards the A side. Red Chase needs to go big in this position.
He just needs to find one. One is fine.
That's great.
One is fine. He's playing an untradeable position inside the bomb site. The defense looking to get aggressive over towards B. They guess incorrectly. Stuns, nades, connecting. They do find 10 off of her plan at A. So 3v2, flank coming through for Superior. It'll take down Paralysis. It all falls onto Trauma. Sandbag side. 1v3. And Slim predicts it, but still can't win the gunfight. Trauma still doesn't have to worry about the defuse as of yet. Actually gets a little bit of a sound cue. Players from behind and has a 1v1 with Superior, but alright, Superior. Maybe not earned. Maybe not earned yet. Like, all right, you know, we see you, but
they got double the amount of rounds as you, Superior. All right, you're 4 and 5. Relax. It's fine. Everything's fine. Mox get themselves at least one more round on the board, but I think it's just one of those things again where it's just being able to find the bearings, being able to catch Concord, and calling out their bluffs when it comes down to their offensive pushes. I mean, as you say, Red Chase going in an untradeable position, going 1-for-1, is big within its own self, but the overall collapse was that much better from UT Chattanooga that Concord Esports, as they were favoring towards the bomb plan, were unable to be able to deal with the push that came through from the main door and from the upper courtyard side as a whole. Now a 2-2 split is starting to come through. You got crooked intensities that are just inside of the office in a very annoying position, but Red Chase taking down Paralysis could open things up over on the opposite side of the map.
I freaking love this from the Mox. They're trying to bait this flank out. The problem is the flank isn't happening. It's going through the middle of the map. That's all just a bait. Red Chase is just saying, hey, look at me, look at me. You know, he's over by B, gets the first kill. He forces Concord to rotate, and Chattanooga are hoping for a push through from Train Platt side. It does not happen, but the thing about this is, knowing that this retake was going to be through the middle of the map, they can actually get aggressive where Click is inside of lobby and stop this re-wrap back over while Superior watches the front. But Click's position has been figured out. He's not going to be able to get away. So now it all falls onto Superior, 1v3, 25 seconds on the clock, and he's, again, just playing for timing here behind this desk. 10 is going to hop on. Superior to check.
Hello.
Hello and goodbye. Next one up, Trauma side door, plus also Crick from behind. I will say, I love the idea from Chattanooga. You get exactly 2 golf claps from me. Problem is, they didn't watch the middle of the map, which is kind of the byproduct of the problems of that setup.
Who would have thought? Middle of the map important in search?
I get it though, right? Like,
it's a really cool play.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah, it's a really cool play. I mean, it's all, again, hindering off of the player over, even by the B hut, going 1-for-1 would be big.
Absolutely.
The player in the middle of the map, able to cut down the cross, more or less being able to find that second kill, giving yourself the 3v2 numbers advantage as the bomb goes down over at A. Yeah. While Concord Esports are more or less thinking for themselves, like we just saw all of these stuns and all the nades and all of the pressure, the lore come through over by the B hut. This is going to be a B committal. It just kind of falls apart at the seams.
I think the positions they played for that flank watch were just a little bit too passive as well. I digress. Red Chase wasn't sure which direction to look at. Good hit from Concord, breaching both doors at the same time, making it look like Rainbow Six or something of the nature. Click able to push them off the plant, though, so, hey, at least you're in a 3v4. You're able to fight off the at least initial objective play. Click on the flank. Could actually open up for a couple of kills. He lines up 2, but in that same moment, his homies have fallen, so it's Click for technically a 1v4. Good response, but isn't able to win the gunfight in Concord. That's going to be a 6-2 search in Chattanooga in a world of hurt right now.
The wings are clipped, man.
Yeah.
I mean, do Mox fly? I know a lot of birds don't fly. He's Googling it. All right, so I think that I think again what you're mostly looking at it is that Crook got away with highway robbery. You know, we talked about all the different timings that you can end up finding for yourself.
I'm looking it up.
This is important.
Oh, so they're off the Mockingbird, so yes, they fly.
They fly. Their wings are clipped. And I think that you're mostly just looking at a massive deficit that is going to continuously hinder them going forward. Is that all the timings and the issues? What are you smirking at? Is that I think that you're mostly going to be looking at, for Concord Esports to exploit one simple factor, is that not only are they outgunning them, but they're also outsmarting them at the same time.
So what you're saying is Concord is in a position to tell us the exact response to how to kill a mockingbird. The age-old question, Atticus Finch.
It's a great book.
It's banned. You know that?
It's a banned?
Pretty sure it's a banned book now.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Recently.
So I can't... If I went back to school, if I went back
You can't
to
find
middle
it in
school,
public libraries, I don't think.
Oh,
anymore.
I can't... Really?
Pretty sure.
But the movie still slaps.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what else is pretty good?
What?
Crooked 14-2.
Dude.
It's pretty good.
9 non-traded kills, by the way.
Yeah, pretty good.
14-2. Andrew Crooked is not bad at the video game. I will sit here and say that for many different years now. I said it through Modern Warfare. Said it through Cold War. Even said it through Black Ops 4, honestly. And then...
You know what makes me sad?
What?
There are a lot of people that are either in college right now watching this that probably never read How to Kill a Mockingbird. Sad.
World.
Harper Lee, go look it up. Go look it up while we go to break. We'll be back. Map number 3, Control, Tuscan. That's all we need to know. UTC need a reverse sweep. And, well, at least based off historical statistics, not looking all that great for it. We'll see how things unfold, though. We come back after the break. Welcome back to an all-Concord affair. 40-point game of the hard point. 6-2, though, the search. And, well, Chattanooga has yet to put up at least a formidable response, really, in both affairs. A couple missed opportunities, the hard point, and then a couple of cute ideas for the search, just weren't able to execute correctly.
Yeah, I think it's mostly those last little bit of execution through a lot of those different rounds. We saw a lot of cool ideas, we saw a little cutesy mid-round adjustments, but a lot of those executions just coming through a little bit flat. The same thing could also be said, maybe just a little too late to wake up when it came down to that Bokosh hardpoint again. 250 to 210 in that Bokosh hardpoint, where all of the SMGs, all 3 of them for Concord University, were at a combined 60 kills through map number 1.
Yeah.
And then Kirk goes 14-2 for the Berlin Search and Destroy. So now we set ourselves up for a Tuscan Control where, you named it, SMGs. Gonna have fun here.
The thing about it is, it's still Control.
That's fair.
And it's a hardpoint Gavudu next.
Dude.
So really, like, one good rotation gets you the better part of 120 seconds for the hardpoint time.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I'm saying there is a chance here for Chattanooga. But the thing about it is, I still think that going off of the narrative of it's Tuscan, you expect to see a lot more up close and personal battles than you would in a Gavudu Control, obviously. If you cannot come out and at least establish your own SMG presence, it's going to be a very hard time for either of us to go and say, yeah, you're going to find a kill advantage going into that round 5 where you're going to want defense. So they need to still put up a formidable fight here. I think right off the rip, no matter what side they start on, just due to the fact that we have seen the SMGs of Concord absolutely take over this series so far.
Took the words right out of my brain,
You're
man.
freaking welcome.
Yeah, words. I just genuinely believe that Concord are playing with a certain amount of mix and heat that UT Chattanooga are just not ready to play with. And that comes through with their triple SMG setup, and that will exist again. I mean, look, when it comes down towards the A zone, you can pull out a second AR, and we will surely see that coming through from Concord as they are on the offense first and foremost. But, I mean, Trauma Crook, they're going right in the church immediately. But luckily enough, they do end up going 2 for 2, so that'll slow things up in the middle of the map, but will not dissuade tendencies from stopping the clock on the A zone.
Stopping the clock is just a mere informality, though, for UTC, because with that stall in the middle of the map, you saw Click run all the way around from B to hit off these reinforcements through the middle of the map. Now, the thing about it is you have to expect more than that. You can't be going full tack sprint there. You got to keep your gun up. And with that, eliminations go 3 for 1, and that will be the zone. There is no refighting this if you're UTC. And yeah, Tenzies has had to do nothing but confirm the zone.
This is the queen of Concord Esports. Just kicking her
feet
out.
my men, my jolly men.
My lions you shall slay, and slay they shall. I mean, correct again, 3-1 star for them. Paralysis getting things mixy over by grass. And you just essentially are going to be waiting for the 2-pronged attack that will be happening over by the bunk beds, and then the backside of Church will actually come up flat.
Oh.
But this is all very dependent. Again, you got crooked. The ace up the sleeve for Concord, working their way into the backside of the patio. And now you also have reinforcements working their way through on the backside of P5 as well.
And this is a smart play here from Crook. Just keep the high ground because stuff like this will happen. Oh. Slim nearly just got posterized for a second there, but at least is able to neutralize the progress being made on B. Has not depleted the progress as of yet, have the Mox, but they're focusing on rewrapping back, taking some P5 control, and making sure that they can possess the high ground. The freest kill that you've ever received for Click. That'll turn into an even life count and only a couple of more mountain lions to find in the back.
Even life count. Minute 15 left to play here. You're effectively looking at Concord Esports to try to really commit towards this North Ruins push. But I mean, so long as Chattanooga are able to find trades and they were able to find one of the biggest exploit again, Click can constantly find timings through the middle of the map to try to flank and blow up this play, so long as it doesn't get blown up from the front first.
I was about to say, that's the thing. You have Click on that long flank, but the win condition is not off kills right here. It's off of killing the clock. So Concord does have an opportunity to take some high ground in front of radio. If they can find a favorable kill feed, you expect them to just dive on into this B zone. But Red Chase, very much so aware of the potential play. Gets active, finds a kill, and then pushes through, trusting that his teammates in the back will be able to stop any pressure over towards B. Crooked on a single point worth of health, will rejet and then put Superior in the dirt, which is being covered by this brickwork. Not good news here for UTC. 11 playing up against 9, and Concord, if they can find this kill onto Click, they will have a chance to stall the clock, but Click goes high, and that'll be good for the double. And 9 playing up against 9 with only one more Concord member. The fact that's going to be Crook, who does not get anywhere. All right, Click.
Tell me how you feel. If I hold up this mock stall, will you show me where they hurt you? Only a +1 kill advantage, though, for Chattanooga, walking one on the defensive side. Not necessarily going to be emphatic, to say the least. Again, if you're new to Vanguard, sound like a broken record for everybody that's been watching CCL as a whole. It generates off of kills alone, first and foremost, when it comes down to that round number 5, which is why we say that the Mox absolutely have a chance so long as they're able to hold out from a lot of these different rounds. It just comes through from one of the biggest problems that I've seen from a lot of CCL teams. Even if you're in the top 25, you are no excuse from faltering towards the one simple fact that a lot of teams throw lives away when it is not necessary. But Chattanooga will be able to confirm that defensive side. Will actually take 3 players through P5 and try to work their way over towards B zone first and foremost.
Trauma not finding one there is massive for UTC, as they do have kind of an insurance policy onto A. 3 kills will come through. This is where you stack, by the way. Superior needs to get out and help. You've got Click watching the top side, but no. Trauma's actually able to put a little bit of pressure onto the high ground. The player that was on A was dealt with, so as Click comes off a spawn, they will go back to reconfirm what's happening at A, and the ticket progress at B will be there. Second one on the way, but Farah's there to at least negate a lot of it.
Still have progress being made at A, by the way. So you have 2 ticks of progress in total on both sides. I mean, this also has shades going back to Control when it was first introduced as a competitive map mode. That if you can work your way over towards B first and foremost, you get that first tick of progress. Now you shift your focus over towards the easier of the 2 zones to be able to take. And basically, you split the defensive team of Concord Esports on 2 different sides. The only issue is now you have an angry Andrew Crook in the middle of the map trying to keep things alive for Concord to reassess this A zone. But it comes up just a little bit too stalled. Although they might be able to clean up a handful of eliminations, they're all going to walk away with a one life lead with the B zone left to defend.
I will say, as far as typical plays are concerned for Concord, they never went back to A until they knew B was completely clear and they had space in front of B. You don't want to just let one mock stray on into the B site time and time and time again. Get players forward, and if you have to chalk A, you have to chalk A. At least you've got formidable position over the top of the B zone. So, good stuff there from Concord as far as the decision-making is concerned. Second tick of progress was close to being confirmed for UTC on their next attempt, but that progress now fully depleted as Tenzies jumps on to make sure it's only just a 1 standing tick for now with a minute and a half to play.
So now the Mox are trying to shift their focus over towards the ruin side of the map, and again, although it may find itself, and you do have a 2-life lead, you're almost working your way in towards the waiting arms of Paralysis. Can only go 1 for 1. But again, the issue still exists when Concord Esports are trying to go for the same exact play. That timing will exist for the defensive team to be able to find some flank plays. The only difference is that you don't have Crook trying to work the flank. Drama's actually hesitating to make this flank play happen. Luckily enough for Concord Esports that the hit from the front was not successful for the Mox. Now a 2-life lead in favor of the defense, and Trauma's over in the Zig area.
That's a heads-up play from Trauma, honestly speaking, not just because he gets a couple of kills, but more importantly, with a 12v14 with a minute and a half to play, UTC has more than enough time to confirm those 12 kills. So the only way that you stop them from finding eliminations is to go forward and make sure the reinforcements do not allow even trades. And Trauma does a great job of exemplifying that. Crooked, not able to do too much with that position. 3v8 though. And this hit is going to be completely read by Trauma. There's really nowhere for the Mox to go. Not a lot of time on the clock either. 26 seconds. Trauma has read at least one, if not two players. Those eliminations will be collected by Tenzies. So Superior, the last one left. It was a 1-life advantage in the first round for UTC. That will be bested by Concord by a total of 5 more. Good math.
Good. You're so smart.
Brilliant.
Can confirm he has no TI-83 Plus calculator. I don't even own one. Really sell myself.
Do you think they still use those?
Yeah.
Really? You don't think all those functions are available like on a phone app or something?
Look. How else am I supposed to play Fall Man? In the middle.
Oh, you were
of
Fall Man? I was a Snake guy. I was old school.
Yeah, I was playing that on my Nokia brick phone though.
I did that too, actually.
4-life lead for Concord as a whole going in towards round number 3. Again, we'll continuously talk about it as a whole. Slim, 4-15, 7-11. Not the station, but Tenzies, as far as a KD ratio is concerned, Trauma is double positive. And again, when it comes down towards these respawn game modes for Concord Esports, they thrive within the chaos, being able to recognize when it comes down to the necessity to play these split-second calls, be able to absolutely collect on unforced errors as Crook puts themselves in the nook of the cranny through the middle of the map. Will catch one player off guard. Paralysis will collect on that kill. And although only one kill comes on 2 different sides, Concord Esports are about to find the A zone off the opening ring.
Free. It's absolutely free.
Free.
The thing about this for Concord, again, just as another small thing, like, this is a cool setup. You had one player throwing all their utility over P5 to B, and it keeps UTC planted in the middle of the map. So Concord sneaks one player through. You had one player watching the cross through mid-U, and then the other one just soaks up the time. It's a really cool way to kind of get a free stall of the clock, but also tally up extra lives. Really cool little set play from Concord there, just kind of pointing out the nuances that you're seeing. And as Crook is able to nearly find 3, it's click to turn it into double the zone, and the lives will stay even at 23 with 1:45 to play.
It's a lot of time, though.
There's a lot of time.
Try to find value going over towards the B zone. Now, the biggest issue is that Tenzies is able to find 1 kill from top radio. Able to at least confirm that they ended up getting the read, at least that Red Chase is over on the backside of the column. You would almost feel that Trauma has to be able to be aware of this, and they simply will not. Tenzies up in the top green area won't be able to help out Trauma down low over by the column, but keeping things mixy going forward, making sure that you're at least coexisting on the backside of Church will be good for Concord so long as the reinforcements can get back over here, but so long as you end up having Click just existing over by P5, they'll have the immediate go-ahead to be able to clear out bunks, clear out the backside of rooftops, and keep Concord at bay from reinforcing the B zone with numbers.
And there's just a couple of missed opportunities here for Concord, simply due to the fact that you're hoping that there's some success from the front so Paralysis can get around the back.
Yes.
That never really truly happens, so they'll do this the old-fashioned way. And as they attempt to, it's a 3-for-1 exchange, leading to Trauma to get into the zone to stop the clock at 56 seconds. 18 playing up against 10. A heavy cemetery starting to accrue on the backside of the spawns for UTC. Tenzies on 4. And Red Chase, number 6 in blue, needs to make a decision quickly. You gotta come back to the zone because 10 is having her way. And this is not good news for UTC. 17v5. The progress may not matter. They're not finding any eliminations. That's the first one in the last 60 seconds, it feels like. And a 16v3 will lead to Concord securing the zone for their offensive win. One successful defense away from indeed showing us how to kill a Mockingbird. I'm still sticking on that. Not going away.
It's just so cruel when you say it out loud like that.
It's a good book!
It's a very unfortunate tragedy that honestly happens.
But it's a good book.
It's a great book. But even so, even The Giver was a travesty. But even still, is that what you're mostly going to be looking at is that through that back end of the break, when Concord Esports were stalling out the clock on the B zone, Crook just flies, was pointing out my monitor vigorously, that Crook just flies on the backside of the tank and finds 2 of the freest kills, and that allows Tens to stay alive, and now she walks into this round on a 5 spree. To be able to put them down in the dust would have been influential to say the least to be able to get some streaks, but Superior will shut it down over by the Zig box. Can they find some more fantastic help to speak of? First tick of progress and some more to boot around the corner for the Mox over by the A zone.
And you've got Click very far forward. I'm just curious to see if is he going to come help the zone, or does he want to try to put some pressure over towards B? And really, that pressure towards B doesn't even have to necessarily be him on the B zone. He could just be pushing pressure on where the spawns are going to be. But the problem about this is, once again, UTC not finding any success from the front. Team wipe comes through. At 25 plays 23. Time becoming a major problem from UTC, and Concord will actually they have forced the Mox to spawn bottom of the map, giving them only one option, and that option is B.
Gotta try to solve the clock. Superior will get there, 18 and 16 for the kid. First tick of progress, even be argued to come through. That
Chase, you played with him for 2 years. You don't take crooked in fights like that.
Maybe you do. I don't know.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know how their 1v1s win.
Not
This
well.
Is my first time I've ever seen them. Must not have, even when you have the staircase in your advantage. But the one thing that the Mox do have in their advantage, Alan, 2 takes of progress over towards the B zone. They had some help over by the top side of green, but now Crooks are gonna fly down and find themselves 2 kills halfway through the B zone, where the progress almost gave themselves a good look for the extra 60 seconds. Now 16 v 17 in favor of the defense, as the Mox will go back towards the respawn screen to try to assault the A zone once again.
I think Crook's major is something in like astrophysicist engineering. He calculated that to literally the split second before he had to touch. I don't know if that's a thing, but he's like super smart. Smarter than you and I.
So he's like a mathematician.
Scientist, yeah. But my goodness, there was literally no space between that B zone being secured. But it's looking good here at A. 10 is trying to stall as long as possible, but this will be a concession of the A zone. So 60 seconds added, and in a 9v11, advantage still rests with the Mox. You've got plenty of time here. You cannot let this get out of hand. You've got to play controlled. You've got more than enough time to start working your way back over towards B.
Someone has to clear up P5, though. And whether that is going through maps or going through bunks, this is where this faltered for the Mox on their previous offense attempts. They found themselves value on the backside of Church. Not so much to speak of this time around. Now only one set of respawns remaining for both our 2 teams, as we have the drawing board being spun up again for the Mox. Someone needs to deal with one of these players. It's Trauma this time around inside of maps. Without fully clearing away the backside of Patio and finding yourself a coordinated pinch on the backside, things will not go up in your favor, but Click finds an influential 2-piece in the backside. Now you gotta try to fight your way over towards the zone, but no one reads that the close spawns come on the backside of Tank, and now things are going absolutely haywire. No respawns remaining for our 2 teams.
That's such a mistake from UTC. You know that there's only 2 more players to respawn. Cut them off from the defense. Trades come back and forth. It's a 1v2. 10 in the back. Going up against Click and Slim. 30 seconds, and there will not be an elimination. So UTC will put together an offensive round, much needed. The problem is
they gotta do it again.
Proper's doing the math. They're gonna have to do it again. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have to do the math on that last round. Concord won the previous round to that one by plus 13.
Yeah.
I did the math anyway.
Yeah, pretty easy.
Yeah. I did the math.
I'm proud of you. I saw you doing your arithmetic. I saw you brought the abacus out, sliding things back and forth.
I was writing numbers plus symbols.
I don't even know what that means.
Letters. 37-25 for Crook going in towards this final round. 37 and 26 for Click. We talked about how these 2 players will be more or less matching up against each other, but something's got to give here. UT Chattanooga got to find themselves a much cleaner offensive push, previous to the one that is transpiring right now. Pinstripe kill feed will not be favorable for them, and again, Concord Esports just too stall-worthy when it comes to their pressure to the middle of the map so far.
They missed the second tick by, again, a very thin margin. So Crooked 41 and 25. Why I made that noise and voice, the world may never know.
I'm here for it.
It's the same reason that the world may never know why it is Crooked is as good as he is. Another moment where the second tick was so darn close to being confirmed. Gets depleted back just a touch. Trauma contesting. Hair on the flank. That'll be enough. Now you do have number 6 in Red Chase, who stopped the clock over towards the B zone. And honestly speaking, for Concord, they're kind of letting him stay here for now. It's only a 2-life lead. And With a second tick of progress not being fully depleted, it nearly leads to a full tick at B being locked in. So decent stuff here for the Mox to salvage.
And again, that's going to be splitting up the defense nominally for Concord. And I say it the way that I do because although you might be splitting 2 more players for Concord, the other 2 players that are absolutely feasting over by A are essentially raid bosses to deal with. But now the Mox are able to deal with it.
Yeah.
Now Presence is coming through over by A. 16 v16.
A lot of time, too.
And Concord has to concede the A zone. They don't want to be giving up more lives. But now Click has slipped the net to be able to work their way in the back. What a big kill they would be able to find if they could take down Tensies, and they will. Now it's just about existing in the back and just making sure that they keep Concord at bay, so that way their reinforcements can find value for the front.
Yeah, 10's kind of in a blender right now, sitting behind this tank. However, again, this is another situation where UTC do not properly read the spawns from Concord. Yeah. It's just a couple of missed opportunities here or there has been really the story of this entire set of maps so far, but UTC are still in this. Let's not rule them out yet. Problem is, they are starting to lose a lot of lives, and there's not really much map pressure to work with here, so 13 up against 11, and already 40-plus seconds have been killed by Concord on this defensive B.
So 2 life lead. All UTC need are just one good gunfight, but Morales isn't even going to give him one. Just shoots 2 players in the back, both Click Slim. So absolutely no chance. And the same problem will continuously coincide for UT Chattanooga. The only reason why they won the last offense, Alan, was the simple fact that they won off of lives alone. They were able to overwhelm the last few players over the backside of church. But the one thing they never were able to rectify was that they were unable to find themselves a double-pronged attack. Now, you got 3 players over by grass. Superior was probably going to be that player trying to cut through the middle of the map. You have to win it on 2 different fronts, but UT Chattanooga are trying to do it from the church side as a whole.
And that's not bad as far as clearance is concerned for UTC. The problem is Concord absolutely know where this hit is coming from.
Yeah.
Paralysis able to come back around, find the flank for his 5th kill. 12 playing up against 4. Last chance saloon for UTC. And well, that may just be it right there with Red Chase falling. Pear's going to block off P5. Superior last one left. We'll see if Crook can get 50. I know that's why observers are sticking on him. Not going to happen though. What a map from Concord. It's, man, this team is scary.
I think there's one thing that we can constantly say, after 3 titles and even through the Black Ops 4 throwback, seems pretty good.
Wait, he shot the body and got the other kill.
I mean, at the end of the day, look, UT Chattanooga were shooting bodies before they even found themselves a map win.
That's true.
And if there's one thing we know about Call of Duty Esports as a whole, you don't shoot bodies until you're at least got yourself not only a round lead in Search and Destroy, but an opportunity to at least close out the map. And look, it's again one of those things, not only did Concord, not just simply as John Madden as it will sound, outslay their opponents, they're also outsmarted them at the same point in time. I mean, they were forcing them into very inauspicious choke points and forcing their hand where they weren't finding value through the middle of the map through the majority of their offensive pushes, where they couldn't work their way inside of maps to be able to find that double coordinated pinch, that they always had to work those very linear hits on the backside of grass and the backside of church.
It just seemed like the entire series could be buttoned up by essentially saying for UTC, there were a couple missed opportunities at the hard point.
No.
Search and destroy, great ideas. They don't fully realize it. And the same thing could be said here, and I think in the control, a couple of missed opportunities here or there. But it's the other point is just like, you know, one of the stats that EasyMac tracks for us for Challengers Elite is the amount of eliminations that happen that are essentially either assisted, eliminated, or traded. And he tallies it up into one full percentage. The amount of total kills that went untraded for Concord throughout this entire series was far and above what UTC put together. Even though you've got a 35-34, don't even look at those. Look at the fact that the next 3 are 23, 19, and 19. And on the other front, Superior's got 21, he got 15 from Red Chase, and 9 from Slim. So the overall total margin is nearly double the non-traded kills for Concord than there was for UTC. And I think that number in itself actually says more than we may figure.
Look, we go back to 5v5 Call of Duty. Slim's 9 untraded kills can probably end up getting picked up by another cracked out individual.
Yeah.
Here in 4v4, essentially putting yourself in a 3v4 such as it may be, especially through very crucial rounds where, hey, in control, lives absolutely matter there at the end of things. You're going to really feel on the pressure for Concord, who, again, as far as the core trio is concerned, I guess we can call them Paralysis, Trauma, and Crook, just absolutely running the muck. I mean, their one loss versus Penn State definitely probably lit a fire underneath them to be able to go back hit the VODs, study what they possibly can, and make sure that they were in championship form, because we know that they could absolutely be there at one point in time. It's just about getting there.
And 10 was better today than she was versus Penn State too, which
absolutely.
is also, I think, an important
I think the chemistry was all there together.
I agree.
Today than the last time that we saw them versus Penn State.
I agree.
Yeah.
Solid. So with that, Concord 3-0 in the series. They take down number 14 UTC. Not too much of a sweat here and there. You got the hard point, 40-point game, round 5 when the control came through. But the search and destroy still a bit of a problem looming for UTC, who will go on and play Shenandoah. That should be an easy win for them after that series. So that's what they're looking at. Whereas Concord, the night gets a little bit easier, but only marginally so. They play Kennesaw State next.
Kennesaw State, I mean, they're one of those teams, again, that you can't sleep on. And I both mean that because owls are nocturnal, and I truly mean that.
Done.
You like that?
That's good.
You like that? I was off
one.
the hat.
That's
I was
good
off
one.
the top of the man bun. But even so, I think that what you're mostly going to be looking at is that Kennesaw State is one of those teams that can absolutely take not only maps, but potentially also series at the same time from a lot of different teams. I don't know for a fact where Kennesaw State versus Penn State are at right now. That matchup is actually happening on the Bravo stream right now, where Colin and Rome are actually taking you through that action. I believe that Penn State were up 2-0 going into the control. But even further than that, I think that you're probably going to be looking at that matchup going forward. Is that I'm being told that map 4 is actually being played out.
That's going to be good.
Dude, Kennesaw State is a good team.
They're a good team.
And I think that Concord are going to have their hands full, their paws full, if you will, with these owls.
You really did that. You went there. All right, fair.
Can you imagine just a mountain lion just like balancing owls?
It would be a hell of a America's Got Talent skit, though, I'll tell you that much.
Mountain lions who could hop on America's Got Talent.
I'm here for it. Speaking of here for it, we'll be back after the next break as series number 2. We'll see the Davenport Panthers going up against the Rowan Profs, also mascotted by an owl. Wouldn't you know it?
Who
I don't know. I knew that.
I didn't.
I knew that.
Okay.
But with that, hey, we'll probably do a live look in to see what's going on with Bravo, and we'll set up the next match. Be back without too much of a delay, so don't go too far. More College COD coming up after the break.